Hey folks, welcome to another day at Ghost and Cars, where you leave more confused than when you came in. Been trying to find me a filming spot, and the muggles are out in force today. So I'm in the parking lot of AutoZone. I want to show you a quick video what you can do with your Jeep Wrangler. So what we have here is a 97 model. It's the inline 6 to the 4-liter, and it's mostly stock. It has an eBay header on it right now, and a 2.5-inch system that I made that starts right here and goes all the way back. At the time, I didn't have the time, nor the money to buy and do this the way I really wanted to. So I just kind of used some stuff that I had laying around. If I was to do it differently, what I would do is cut the collector off the header up there and V-band it with a 2.5-inch, and have that 2.5-inch come all the way down and meet right here at 2.5. At the collector, it pinches down to 2 1/8 on the outside, and then almost like 2 inches right in here. And then you also have the O2 sensor obstructing the gas flow as well. So I think that's the last little bit of restriction that I have in this system. It's pretty free flowing, and it sounds pretty good as is. It's been a nice little upgrade. The muffler was $50, and I had some pipe laying around. The header was, I think, $150 or so. It's actually the second one that I put on here. The first one I put on cracked when I took it out to river run. I was probably throwing it around a little bit too hard, but I thought I was being really gentle with it. They say that if you cut right in here and put a flex joint and then another hanger, maybe somewhere like over there in that corner, it'll help it not stress and flex up here on this header. I think these engines run a little bit hotter, and all that stressing and flexing and the heavy exhaust system on these little pipes is probably what does it. That and they're cheap material, I'm sure. But yeah, I would do it that way. Or if this is more of a race application, what I would do is I would get rid of all the system like this, and I'd have this come straight out here and go along the side of the Jeep and do like a side pipe with a glass pack or some kind of a straight through muffler, and I think that would flow a lot better. I'm not real fond of these 90-degree turns. I like everything to be smooth, flowy, and just optimized, really. But yeah, let me show you the second part. So you can see that pipe is 2.5 inches, and it comes straight back with no cat, no resonator, nothing like that, into a Flowmaster FX 2.5-inch, and it's a center on the entry side and an exit. On the exit side, it has an offset, and I just welded in a nice little 90 there. This one works pretty well. It's still fairly quiet. It does have a little bit of a drone. I don't like to take it on long trips. In order to do this one different, I'd probably go all the way out the back. It just makes it a little bit quieter, and it's still pretty quiet right now. It only gets loud when you take it up like 3,000-4,000 and you're mashing on it. Before, I had a 2 1/4 muffler on it, Flowmaster FX, and it seemed a little choked up. It had a better sound to it, but just the old butt meter just said it was kind of choked up. So I went to the 2.5, and it feels a lot better. If you wanted it a little bit more aggressive, you could go with a straight through style muffler instead of the S shape. It would probably sound really good, especially if you went all the way out the back. I don't think it would be too loud at all. Glass packs, I would not do that. I had a 2 1/4 glass pack on there, and it was too loud. I live in the city, and it's just not a cool thing to do. Keep your stuff quiet with a little bit of tone to it. So you can see we got the stock inline 6 here, 4-liter. And the only thing really done up here is it has a Powerade throttle body spacer. which I kind of feel like it restricts the horsepower, but gives you a little bit better gas mileage. I read the same as well. I do notice when I take it off, it does have a little bit more power. That's kind of a toss-up. I don't know if I'd spend the money on it. You can make one. For the throttle body, it is a BBK unit. I'm not sure on the size. It's like a 62 or 65. I can't honestly remember. It's been a while since I messed with this Jeep stuff. The air intake tube is the factory unit, I'm pretty sure. I do feel like this is a little bit restrictive. You could probably pick up some gains there. I'm not a real big fan of putting recycled hot oily air back in the motor. I feel like it just dirties up the valves and makes everything run worse. So normally I vent that off or run a tube down the ground. This one I just got it in the air tube there. You know, another idea I had was to get rid of the air tube and put a cone filter on there. You only have about 7 inches going up before you hit the hood, which isn't a whole lot, especially because you can't go wide because of all the things that it hits on. So you really have to go kind of long and tall. Now, if you could put a hood scoop on the hood there, or a vent, then that might work pretty good. Other than that, it's a pretty solid little motor. Let's let you hear it. So we got enough heat in it. I've been driving it around. Let it idle for a second. One thing I forgot to show you. How could I forget about the injectors? These are actually 12-hole injectors. I stuck them on. Let's see if I can see the part number. 02801566161. I can't remember if they're like a Ford injector or what. I bought them off eBay. They're about $100 a couple years ago. The stock injectors are single hole, and they worked fine, but I was curious and wanted to try these out. Most of the modern cars or newer cars, you know, they have more holes. It's supposed to have better atomization, stuff like that. So I figured I'd give it a try, and well, the first thing I noticed was the idle was a lot smoother. It felt like kind of a happier motor, but the computer was not happy. This thing smelled so bad. It smelled like gas. It was overly rich for a long time. And I tried resetting the battery and the computer over and over, and it took a long time for it to like straighten itself out. So I don't know if I'd recommend it or not. I'm more of a carburetor guy. I don't like dealing with computers, but that's something to consider. I haven't really noticed any gas mileage change either. Just really idle. I really would like to throw a AFR gauge on here. I have one at home. I just haven't put it on here because I'm saving it for my other car. But if I had an AFR gauge on here and then like a potentiometer that I could fine-tune the mass air sensor on it, or the map sensor, I mean. This one has a map sensor. I feel like I could lean it out a little bit and it'd probably run really good. What I saw on some of the other YouTube videos is the 4-hole, 8-hole, and then these 12 holes, they gained about 5 horsepower. So if you look for a video on there, it's like a Jeep Cherokee and they got it on the dyno. Pretty good little read. They got some comparisons between all the different style injectors. But yeah, I just want to throw that in there real quick for y'all. I'll let y'all hear what it sounds like going down the road. Kind of sounds like you're driving an old C10 with a Flowmaster on it and a 350 under the hood or something. It sounds kind of V8-ish, but you can still tell it's smaller. It's about 3,000 RPM, about 35 miles an hour, somewhere in there. Quarter throttle, wasn't really mashing on it too hard. If you live in the city, you got apartment life or a lot of people around you, I'd say it's kind of on the edge. I haven't had any complaints, hasn't made anybody mad or anything, but just something to kind of compare to. I know video doesn't really work as good as in person, but you can take my opinion about it. Flowmaster FX 2.5 inch dumped under the body. It ain't too bad. So see ya.